Do you ever really think about the big beautiful bill? Welcome to the first episode of Do You Ever Really Think About It? Today we're breaking it all down. We'll start with the legal and policy angle, looking at what the bill actually says, how it's funded, and what it aims to do. Then we'll touch on a few questions from the cultural and social angle, exploring how it may affect different people. By the end of this episode, you'll have the facts and the questions you need to decide for yourself. What do you really think about the big beautiful bill? Created it. The Big Beautiful Bill was created by Republicans in Congress, led by Representative Jody Arrington. I believe I'm saying their name right, from Texas. He sponsored it. He's the one who officially introduced the bill in the House on May 20th, 2025. Behind the scenes, the bill was shaped by the House Budget Committee, which he chairs, and supported by the Republican Party as a major part of their 2025 agenda. Now, where was the Big Beautiful Bill introduced? The Big Beautiful Bill, nicknamed BBB, was originally introduced in New York. It showed up both the New York State Assembly and Senate. The people who brought it forward are Assembly member Karen Rains, I believe I'm saying her name right, and Senator Julia Salazar. This bill is basically Trump's playbook turned into law. If 45 himself said, here's how we're going to make America stronger, this is it. Arrington put pen to paper, but the energy seems 100% Trump. This is the bold, non-nonsense move you don't see every day. Now, where does it stand? The Senate passed it first on July 1st, 2025 in a super close 51-50 vote, with VP J.D. Vance breaking the tie. Then the House approved it on July 3rd, 2025 by a narrow 218-214 vote. Finally, Trump signed it into law on July 4th, making it official. But what does the BBB actually do? Well, before you get your horses up, it cuts taxes for some people and businesses, pumps more money into immigration enforcement and defense, but it cuts funding and some health social programs. It's all about shifting priorities, making the government spend more money on security and less time on some other services. It's very controversial because people are divided on whether it helps or hurts most Americans. Now, doing research on what the BBB actually does was a little tricky because all my sources, all the articles were about body discrimination and not allowing people to be obese. Like when I was reading the articles, I was just thinking, no way President Trump signed this into office, signed this into law. A law discriminating obese bodies and or outlawing it. So I went ahead and read the whole thing. Yeah, all of the Big Beautiful Bill. I summarized it and made the BBB into 7 points of what it actually does. Just for you, baby girl. So you don't have to waste your precious time reading and not understanding what it says. Point 1, tax cut for winners. It has a tax plan that doesn't punish success. You work hard, build a business, or invest smart, guess what? You keep more of your money. Sorry, not sorry, haters. AKA tax cut, less taxing. Number 2, border security leveled up. The BBB brings real border security, drones, barriers, boots on the ground. It's not a video game, it's common sense. Yes, people are mad about it, but that's how you know it's working. Point number 3, cutting waste, not handouts. People say it cuts programs, but let's be real. It trims bloated spending that doesn't help and hasn't helped anyone in years. If you want to help people, give them opportunity, not endless handouts. So it cuts all the money that's being wasted and not needed. Number 4, gives us healthcare freedom. You shouldn't need a government permission slip to choose your doctor. The Big Beautiful Bill brings back choice and personal responsibility. Not into that? You're probably into 5-hour wait times too then. Number 5, strong defense equals peace. Peace through strength isn't a slogan, it's strategy. The Big Beautiful Bill makes sure military is ready for anything. And if that makes some people uncomfortable, good. Number 6, IRS chill mode. The IRS has been breathing down our necks for way too long. The Big Beautiful Bill says, how about we stop targeting average Americans and maybe chill with the audits? Meaning, cut the IRS's budget to only what they need. Hopefully they'll stop printing more money that affects my dollar's worth, that makes prices go up, then causes inflation. We'll be talking about that in another episode. The last point it does is 7, less red tape, more freedom. The BBB cuts through the government mess so businesses can actually build, jobs, energy, growth. Shocking concept, I know. The Big Beautiful Bill is supporting small government, not big government. Finally, they are out of my dang pockets. Now we know what the Big Beautiful Bill is, who created it, what it does, but how is it funded, and what is it trying to solve? The Big Beautiful Bill is funded largely through the changes in the tax policy, which includes tax cuts and revenue shifts enacted across multiple sectors. These changes are going to affect the government's money big time over the next 10 so years. Expect the cash flow to look way different, since it also reduces federal funding by slashing programs like Medicaid and other social services. It contributes less to the bill's funding while laying claim to cutting waste. So does a Big Beautiful Bill help the nation debt or make it worse? That's the real question. Council of Economic Advisor projects that the bill will lower the deficit by 2.1 to 2.3 trillion over the next decade, arguing that tax-driven economic growth and other policies will deliver budget relief. The Congressional, however you say that word, Budget Office estimates that the bill will increase the deficit by 3.4 trillion from 2025 to 2034. The Bipartisan Policy Center adds that when you factor in higher interest costs, the total cost could exceed 4 trillion. To me, it seems like the big beautiful bill is using the money that is being wasted towards other stuff, and it seems it goes specifically to immigration, border security, ICE, military aid, which in fact is actually more than China. In 2024, the United States defense spending was approximately 997 billion, while China's reported defense budget was around 314 billion. So 2 times China's reported budget. In the end, I think that the nation's debt will go higher, then possibly, hopefully, will go lower. What does the public opinion look like around the issues tied to this? According to a lot of sources like KFF, Washington Post, WSJ, says that about 1.5 to 2/3 of the population are against the big beautiful bill, while the rest are for it. That translates to 1/3 being for it and 1/3 being against it, and the other 1/3 undecided. However, they are undecided because of the cut spending in welfare and Medicaid, among other cuts, obviously. And also because of the higher national debt, that will happen. I am too undecided. I am for it, but I'm only really concerned for the people who actually need it, but make a little bit too much money to apply or any other reason they can't have what they need because of the new policies. Now, why is the big beautiful bill everywhere right now? Republicans want to show that they can actually get stuff done before the 2026 midterms, so it shapes who wins the 2026 elections. Concerning Congress, for example, JD Vance and the GOP leaders that are going to key states to promote this bill, to explain the bill's benefits and rally supporters. If voters like the bill, Republicans might do better in those elections. If the voters hate it, Democrats and other candidates could gain ground. The old name, One Big Beautiful Bill, sounded cool, but didn't explain anything. Now they're testing names like Working Families Tax Cuts Bill, according to political.com, so people see what it's about. So rebranding for clarity. Town halls and media coverage have made it one of the hottest political topics, with strong reaction from both sides and critics. The bill touches everyone's favorite topics and taxes, government spending, and programs. Basically, it's dealing with money. So of course people are fired up. The big beautiful bill is like a test of Republicans' messaging and voter support. Can the party pass major legislation that trims government, cuts taxes, and reduces red tape, while keeping the base happy? And that's pretty hard. How voters react now could impact the 2026 election. Now, what values and assumptions does the bill challenge or reinforce? Well, it enforces small government principle. We all know and have covered the fact that the big beautiful bill emphasizes reducing federal spending, cutting red tape, and limiting government intervention in areas like businesses, healthcare, and personal finances. It promotes personal responsibility by reducing dependence on social programs. The bill encourages individuals to make their own financial and healthcare decisions rather than relying on government support. So it allows them to use their brain for once and hopefully not rely on brainwashing propaganda that the Rockefellers promoted. The I want a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. That will be a future episode, so stay tuned. Now, here are the challenges. It also challenges government expansion. The big beautiful questions the idea that more government control leads to better outcomes. It argues that federal programs are insufficient or unnecessary, that trimming them can benefit the economy. How? Well, 1, it creates more jobs by funding the military programs. 2, protects trades and businesses by the strong military that secures shipping lanes and international trade routes. 3, all of this makes stability that attracts investment. So, the businesses and investors are more likely to invest in a country that is secure and prepared, reducing economic risks. 4, with all this military spending going on, it often leads to new tech and innovations. Think about the GPS and the internet. That later benefits civilian industries and startups. The Big Beautiful Bill highlights differences in city versus country, people's priorities, elite versus working class, perspectives, and partisan divides, reinforcing conservative focus on representing the concern of everyday Americans, rather than the government boss's interest. Now, how might the Big Beautiful Bill affect everyday life? The Big Beautiful Bill protects people with obesity from discrimination at work or in healthcare, which is good for all the leftist haters out there. This could help people get jobs and fair treatment. that might have been denied before. However, companies don't have to carry larger clothing sizes like extra extra large or extra 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 large if they don't want to. Businesses are protected from being sued for not offering certain sizes and turning down people to hire just because of their dyed hair, a crap ton of piercings, or it seems people would have a hard time identifying your gender. Which may sound rude, but as you do have the freedom to get piercings and all of that and dye your hair, but looking at the bigger picture, when you are hired by any company, you are representing that company, whether or not you post about where you work. Your mom, your friend, your acquaintances will probably know where you work. And with the overly sensitive culture nowadays, it is very possible and has happened a company can be sued because of somebody associated with them, aka their employee. If you look like a scary drag queen clown that can make customers feel uncomfortable and bring the sales down, or if they hired a regular, easy to tell female or male, it could bring the sales up and the company would benefit. I get asked a lot of questions on the impact on LGBTQ plus and gender diverse people. The Big Beautiful Bill does not provide protection for the LGBTQ community. As we all know, or should know, it's common sense, and which is really just the same rights as any other person. Non-binary, transgender, gender diverse individuals will still face challenges in employment and public services, but they still have the same rights as any other human being. Now here are some questions for you to ponder and my take on them. Now that the Big Beautiful Bill is law, how do you think it's affecting everyday life for people you know? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really even know who it affects around me. My family does not seem to have a problem with it. Who seems to be benefiting the most and who might still be left out? I personally think that everybody can benefit from this, but because there is less taxing on bigger companies, it probably benefits them a little bit more, if not just a little bit better. Do you think the Big Beautiful Bill actually solved the problems it aimed to, or are there new issues popping up? Well, it seems to me the problem it was aimed to solve was the US national debt, which it is not going to solve it for sure. There will be issues popping up, obviously, but overall, the BBB has been better for the US economy and government and American safety. Now, what's your guys' take on the Big Beautiful Bill? All right, that's a wrap on our breakdown of the Big Beautiful Bill. We looked at the legal and policy angle, peeked into the cultural and social angle, explored the personal impacts, and finished off with some critical thinking, something younger people definitely need. At the Do You Ever Really Think About It podcast, we don't just tell you what's happening, we dig into the details so you can think for yourself. So after today, ask yourself, what do you really think about the Big Beautiful Bill? Thanks for listening, and remember, stay curious, keep asking questions, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.